Today we're going to talk about thumb placement. This is something that a lot of players have asked about over the years through teaching, but also here on YouTube I've had a few people request a little chat about the thumb and what it should be doing and perhaps what it shouldn't be doing. So let's dig in. First off, we should probably talk about the standard approach that is often taught when it comes to the thumb, and that is, generally speaking, that your thumb should be relaxed, straight. The pad of your thumb should rest roughly about halfway back along the neck and centered under your middle finger. So if you were to look at it from like a cross section, my thumb is roughly underneath my middle finger. That's basically the standard textbook explanation of what your thumb should be doing. Now, a lot of students, what they'll do is they will take that approach and they will try to maintain it strictly and sometimes find great success, but then in other situations run into a problem and they're wondering again, was that the correct thing for their thumb to be doing if they're now having an issue? Well, generally speaking, I would say you need to treat this as I can't believe I'm going to say this, rule of thumb, but not a strict dyed in the wool rule. But I think you're going to find that if you get into playing things that require more of a stretch, for example, it could be, a chord, some chords that are clearly on the stretchier side of things, your thumb, if you maintain that strict middle of the neck position, and not moving it, I think you're going to find certain things are actually harder to do. So another example might be if you're playing a lick like, right? Stretchier licks that require multiple strings and skipping. Anything like that. My thumb, I can tell you, my thumb has to adjust to make that happen. If I literally kept my thumb in the position which is, often prescribed, I end up having an issue. I end up not being able to perform part of the lick. Well, what's happening here then? If that's the standard way of doing it, why am I running into an issue? Check this out. Here's an experiment. Take your four fingers, stretch them out, let's say from the 5th fret roughly to, as far as you can stretch them. So for me, if I'm at the 5th fret on any string, I can reach about to the 11th fret. Now when you do this, disregard what your thumb is doing altogether. Don't worry about it. In fact, don't even have your thumb necessarily placed on the back of the neck. Just stretch your hand out as far as you can and realize how much reach you actually do have. When you introduce your thumb to this mix, what I want you to do is to gradually slide your thumb upward. Now I know you can't see, hang on, now you can. There you go, there's my thumb. So what I'm doing is I'm taking it from the middle of the neck and I'm gradually sliding it up, and without trying to alter what my fingers are doing at all, what I notice, and what you'll quickly see too, is as my thumb comes up further and further, my fingers automatically start encroaching upon each other without my influence. I'm not trying to make them do that. That's just what happens. So the further up your thumb comes, the closer your fingers come together, right? So if you're playing something that requires more of a stretch, it's pretty reasonable to suggest that you may need to have your thumb go from default position to further back towards the bottom of the neck. Still centered, still roughly under your middle finger, but perhaps it needs to slip further back to allow this to happen. So again, if I place my hand at 5, and I can get to about 11 here, and I touch the back of the neck with my thumb, yeah, it's way back there. It's way past half. It's now closer to the bottom end of the neck, depending on how you want to look at it. It's closer to being back here. So a lick like that would not happen without my thumb being allowed to do that. So the takeaway from this is, sure, stick with the default thumb in the middle position, but when something comes up, something you want to play that requires more of a stretch, don't make your thumb do anything. Allow your thumb to do what it needs to do to allow your fingers to do what you want them to do. I should put that on a t-shirt. Just try to be cognizant of the fact that it's straight, Not forced straight, not stiff straight, just relaxed straight, and very light touch. What you don't want to do is force it to the back. You don't want to add much pressure to it. Your thumb ultimately is just a guide, and it should also be a bit of a catalyst to help you do the things that you want to do. It's amazing how much your thumb has an influence in that department. So when I'm playing something and then all of a sudden I have to go into a bit of a stretch or whatever, I just let my thumb do what it has to do. I don't try to adhere to the rule that I heard back in the day, and neither should you. The default is great for initial things, for most things, but when it comes time to do even things like a bend, more rock style kind of stuff like that, my thumb is going to go over the top. I'm going to do the other cardinal sin that they say not to do with the thumb, which is have it over the top. Well, guess what? Having it over the top is a huge advantage when it comes to things that require a little more power, like bends. It acts sort of as like a counterweight towards what you're trying to do. So if you're pushing forward, having your thumb over the top to sort of act as a grip highly benefits things like bluesy bends or whatever. And then as soon as you're done and you're going into stretch land or whatever, your thumb will make that adjustment. It's not a huge ask to have your thumb go from one thing to another, as long as you just let your thumb do it. So there is one thing I definitely don't want you to do, and I've noticed this when sitting with someone who's maybe dismayed at having trouble playing something, and I'm watching them like you're watching me. Back in the day when I used to be able to do this face-to-face with people, I would stand up and look. I would go behind them and take a look at what their thumb was doing. You know what I saw? This. They would bend their thumb, and this flat plateau that they've created is where the back of the neck would go. So they're playing, and they've got, I can't even angle this right, but they've got their thumb flattened with this part against the neck. Just don't do that for any number of reasons. And if you don't believe me, try it for 5 minutes and then let me know how it goes. So that's one thing you definitely don't want to do. Check it out. If you suspect you might be that person, check it out and really just try to get away from doing that. It's not going to help at all. And it actually is kind of painful. I know, because I tried it for a minute. So anyway, that's it with the thumb for now. If you have any questions about anything, you know what to do. Hit the comment section. I'll be happy to answer anything that you got. And I will catch you in the next one.